Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Gridiron Glory, where we focus on the 32 teams of the NFL. And today we have a matchup between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts, with the Jaguars coming away with their first victory of the season, 37-34, in an exciting shootout with their division rivals, the Colts. Um, Trevor Lawrence's best game of the year, bar none, 28 for 34, 371 yards, two touchdowns, one interception, his first win since last Thanksgiving. So it's been a long time coming for the Jaguars
This was
to
also his
put it
birthday.
together. On his birthday, nonetheless. Yes, thank you for bringing that up. That's a very good point there. But yeah, a very strong showing from Lawrence. Very strong showing from the rookie receiver Brian Thomas Jr. Out of LSU, 5 catches, 122 yards, and a touchdown, including an 85-yard reception. So a huge game out of the rookie receiver from LSU. And I'd like to ask where you think he ranks among receivers in the league.
Yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. to me, I mean, obviously, if we're talking about LSU wide receivers, you think like this guy, Malik Neighbors. And for a while, I was kind of thinking that maybe Malik Neighbors was a little bit better than Brian Thomas Jr. But after the performance like this, I mean, they're both really good. But if I were to rank Brian Thomas Jr. amongst rookie wide receivers in the NFL, if you will, I'd probably rank him in the top 10 amongst rookies and or starters, if you will. Well, not like just overall starters, but definitely amongst rookie starters. And I would definitely rank him in the top half. I'd say he's like middle of the pack, maybe a little bit or slightly top half overall.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting comparison for years to come between him and Malik Neighbors. I think personally, I think Malik Neighbors is a little bit more talented, a little bit more refined early on, but you definitely like what you're seeing out of Brian Thomas Jr. and he had a breakout performance, no doubt. So big game there for him. Huge game for Tank Bigsby, the running back, 13 carries, 101 yards, and two massive touchdowns. So you're seeing a bit of a shift in the Jacksonville backfield between
And
him and ETN.
and that's gonna be a big question mark going forward for this Jaguars backfield. Whether or not they want to go ahead and start, making Tank Bigsby the RB1 versus Travis Etienne Jr. Because we know that Travis Etienne Jr. has kind of fallen off a little bit, but Tank Bigsby has really come out here and made explosive plays left and right, including the
Yeah,
two touchdowns in this game.
yeah, a lot of questions there about what Jacksonville's going to do moving forward in the backfield. I mean, they certainly needed a performance like what they saw from Bigsby there. And also a lot of credit needs to be given to the Jacksonville offensive line. You see a zero in the sack column, and anytime you can see that, that's going to give your team a great chance to continue to move the ball, to not have to deal with as much pressure. No quarterback hits the entire game for the Colts defense. I don't know if that says more about the Colts defense or the Jacksonville offensive line. You could probably make conclusions about that either way. But with that being said, a huge performance by the Jacksonville offensive line.
Huge performance by the Jacksonville offensive line. You're able to go out there. You're able to make Trevor Lawrence be able to go out there and make big plays, big throws. However, flipping to the Colts, Joe Flacco, 33 of 44, three touchdowns, no interceptions, was going out there and throwing, big, explosive, dynamic passes, including the likes of Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, Mo Alley Cox, Michael Pittman Jr. even. So where would you rank Joe Flacco's performance overall as like amongst backup performances?
I mean, I think there's very little question that among backup quarterbacks, Joe Flacco is the best. I mean, we saw what he did in Cleveland last year, winning comeback player of the year with his 5 starts to lead the Browns into the playoffs, which is not an easy thing to do. We know the state of the Browns, and Joe Flacco turned that into a playoff team, and now we're seeing him do what he can for the Colts. He had a big win last week, and he did everything he could to lead a massive fourth quarter comeback attempt this week, scoring 24 points in the fourth quarter. Not quite enough, but this loss is certainly not on Joe Flacco. I mean, with his 3 touchdowns.
No. I personally was very excited about Joe Flacco because I picked him up on my fantasy team. I saw the news that came out on Saturday. I got the leg up unapologetically against my league mates and picked him up. No remorse about it whatsoever. I saw the news and made the move. That's what you got to do as a fantasy football player, and I did that. And it was a beautiful performance. It kept me in the game, and then unfortunately, Rashid Shaheed went off on Monday Night Football to lose me the game. But still, nonetheless, Joe Flacco, I had a gut feeling he was going to go out there and he was going to have a big performance, and he did. And that says a lot considering where he's at in his career. And I mean, he may not be like what he once was in Baltimore, but the fact that he's still at this age and still able to produce and go out there and have big performances like this, despite the loss, just says a lot about Joe Flacco overall as a quarterback and who he is as a person and a player. And I mean, as far as the Colts go, this was a tough loss, really tough break. The Jaguars needed this win more than you needed it, for sure. And you know, you just got to move. You just kind of have to brush this one off and move forward to next week if you're the Colts. For the Jaguars, I mean, for some teams, the playoff starts early, right? For some teams, the playoffs start super early and then you get eliminated pretty early. But like, I would say that's kind of the mentality right now for Jacksonville. Like, you now have to, because I mean, that's the whole thing about being 1-4 or 2-4. Because like 2 or 3 wins, and you know, you might be right back in it for all you know. So, I mean, and it's tough to dig yourself out of a hole like this in the NFL. But Jacksonville is now in a must-win situation going into next week as well, and their next 4 to 5 games. And then for the Colts, you know, 2-3, just kind of have to brush this one off and move forward to next week when they go on and they play the Tennessee Titans. So that'll be an interesting game there. So, yep, Jaguars win 37-34. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow on the Gridiron Glory.